Don, why don't you go ahead and start recording while Tony thinks of his next move?
Oh, got it. So as you can see, everybody, we got a little bit of a prequel to today's episode. We're joined today by none other than who?
T-Dawg.
There we go, by T-Dawg himself. Coming in live from the East Coast. It's actually Sunday for him. Or no, shit, Saturday.
Don is such a...
Not that far.
And we're playing some chess. As you can see, I'm obviously winning with more pieces. Where T-Dawg only has 2 pieces, so I might be being nice today. I
mean, you got the numbers right. I'll give you that.
Yeah, the numbers are definitely right. He could add. He didn't miss that day in school.
Work in finance. There we go.
There you go. So one thing I noticed and for the audience that don't know, it looks like you're searching somebody in that second tab on your Google Chrome.
Yes.
Yeah, who's that? Who's Francis Mortimer? Can you explain?
Well, hey, Francis Mortimer, if we click on his Facebook really quick, what we could see is he's from the University of Auckland. Has a wonderful dog. Tends to have questionable tendencies, but he seems to be he's a good-looking dude. Yeah, and we might have to back out of this because that's someone's personal.
I think this was a mistake. I think going on his Facebook and showing his picture on the YouTube stream was a mistake, man. I don't know why you did that.
We're going to go ahead and stop recording.
Southern California, yeah.
Born and raised our DNA. Laugh and cry to what we say. We hit you with that wordplay.
4053.
What episode are we on? D, they feeling like baby zombies, all dressed in Abercrombie.
SoCal DNA coming in live. 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night. COVID got you sitting inside. Why not sip one and free your mind?
Cheap thrills, popping pills, stat cash, spend it fast.
Listen to all of Don's lies as Arjun act like he's surprised.
It's alright, don't worry about it. We'll keep it running. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SoCal DNA. This is a very interesting episode for 2 reasons. I mean, we have, as Don mentioned, our second guest ever. Our first guest, of course, was none other than the legendary Zan Bukhari from maybe about a month ago.
Big Z!
Big Z, that's right. And we got a lot of positive feedback on that one. And people have been asking. They've been asking me. They've been asking the D all the time. When is your next guest coming on? Like, who is going to be your next guest? Well, much to my surprise, and maybe much to the Don's surprise too, today was the day. And we got none other than the legendary Tony Dawson, a.k.a. T-Dawg.
What can I say?
That's my guy, T-Dawg.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here.
Exact. When I say, I'm going to follow through on things, it happens, man. You just got to ask. And then, the
Have
gifts
faith.
will follow.
That'll come through. Right.
Exactly.
For sure. So Tony, being a fan of the show, as you are, tell us, what is something you enjoy about the SoCal DNA podcast?
I think there's a lot of breadth in demeanors. I think that's the most entertaining part of the podcast. You got, I'm not going to name names. One party is pretty logical and... sense.
Hold on, wait. Second part's me. Hold on, let's make it up.
And then, adds a little spice to the mix.
There we go. I like that. In this Christmas season, you always need a little bit of spice. A little bit.
Yeah, it's all about balance.
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying the D's the nutmeg. He's the nutmeg and the spice.
I'll check the nuts. I love nuts.
I know you do. D. What kind of nuts do you like? Would you say it's that D's nuts? There you go for all of our childhood immature friends in the audience. There you go.
All my friends will enjoy that one. Oh, that was a good one.
I know. But of course, thank you, Tony, for hanging out today. And let's go ahead and finish off Don in this epic chess match you got going on. Obviously, Don doesn't have too many moves left.
I got
only
plenty.
A couple of pawns.
I got plenty. Hey, as you can see, this pawn can move. This pawn can move. And dude, look at the options. Look at that. How many moves is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9 moves.
Hey, it sounds like that song by Swizz Beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But okay, if I were you, Tony, I would just put him in check right now. I would go ahead and move that queen over to G8.
Ooh. Oh.
All right. Done and done.
Perfect.
I would have personally moved him here.
That's fine. Don't move your queen anymore.
Wait. Oh,
I
shit.
think your queen has this boundary, this impenetrable wall, you could say, invisible wall, I might add, all around her, and the king cannot touch her. The king cannot touch her at all. So what I would do in this case, Tony, is slowly move your king over towards the queen. So take one step to the right, move your king over to C7. And I guess it just occurred to me that many of our fans listen to the podcast, which is audio only, and they have no idea at all what's going on. So Don wasn't smart enough to think of that. So I'm going to go ahead and narrate a little bit for the audience.
Like fucking 5, 6, 7 shots in. Like this has been a rough night.
Well, clearly because you thought on the East Coast it was already Sunday.
Hey,
I understand.
You know what,
I understand.
Man? Hey, shut up.
You could just take the L. You can take the L. Don, sometimes
never.
You know what? You can just take the L. There
you go down fighting. You go down fighting. That's how it is.
Tony, go ahead and move your king one more to the right. So essentially, Don and Tony have been having this amazing chess match. I only got into it in the last 30 minutes. And, after a little bit of coaching, Tony is pretty much a child prodigy. He is pretty much like the kid in the Queen's Gambit.
Ooh.
So the pieces that are left on the board, Tony has a very powerful queen sitting at the top corner of the board.
Overrated.
Well, I think it'll win the game for Tony.
Overrated.
And then a king, very close by, inching way closer and closer to the queen. Don has a couple of pawns pretty much in the middle right of the board, and a king right above that. Not doing
still
much.
young. Still young. Still green.
Okay, about to die. I mean, a definitive death is coming. But okay, so now whose turn is it? Is it Tony's turn?
It's Tony's turn. Yes.
Okay, so Tony, go ahead and move your king to D7. I would imagine. Just get closer and closer.
Don, did you confirm your move there?
I just did. I'm a little slow right now. That's my bad.
It's all good. It's all good.
Riveting stuff, I know. Thank you, audience, for listening to this one. It's a different kind of episode.
You see that lightning bolt with it? That was.
Oh yeah.
There we go. We don't know. You just call out coordinates, see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, so this is getting really interesting now. So Tony, if I were you, I would actually move your king. Yeah, just keep going to the right. You're fine.
I wouldn't say that.
Totally fine. Just keep going to the right.
Hey, you gonna trust him? Tony? Come on, man. I'm just saying. Who's known you longer? Who's gotten you more drunk? Oh man, that's one of my favorite stories, man. I don't know if you remember, Tony, when we went on the bus to the club.
Oh, come on, man.
I won't say the specifics, but you and I both know what the story is.
We know what the story is. You think, man, after, what, 2007? 13 years? We'd get over this.
Oh, yeah. Man. That's a story for another day. Off record story.
I hear you.
It's crazy times.
Oh, I'm sure. So how about this, Tony? Tell us a story about Don that we don't know. Something that the audience would find very interesting.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, that's... I have to admit, I haven't listened to all of the podcast episodes, so I apologize. I don't know all the stories.
They're all garbage anyway, so...
But, I don't know, Don, he's got a lot of stories. I guess what kind of flavor do you want? I think we all know the funny, fun-loving Don, but he does have a little bit of a kind of more serious side. He's a very multi-dimensional person.
Ooh,
wow!
Yeah, I live in 40.
He does live in 40, and let's talk about the serious side of Don, because honestly, I have heard at times Don can be quite serious, but I would love to hear from one of his best friends back in college days. What's an example of Don being serious freshman year?
Oh, freshman year is probably a bad year to pick.
Maybe not freshman year.
Maybe not freshman. That's right. Maybe a little bit later on in that college career. So
a little later on, yeah. I'll tell you, college was plummeted those days. So I think.
Yeah, what year are you gonna pick, man? They're all bad choices. Which one's the least?
No, I'll just say our 40 and hookah nights back in the day.
Yes.
Those were really good.
Oh, those
are just kind of hanging on the porch, talking about life, stressing about things that we thought were important at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And they were, I think, at some level, but as time goes on, realize that they're not as important as we thought they were.
Those are great.
He definitely had a lot of wisdom to drop, and I think that was it went both ways. It definitely was a healthy argument. I think trying to get a better understanding of life, that we all live, the purpose of our lives, and why do we do what we do? Those kind of deep philosophical things.
Oh yeah!
Wow.
Only get better with the 40, of course.
Yeah, I think it was two young compadres who knew they didn't necessarily belong where they were, but were trying to make ends meet and kind of make something of themselves when we knew the odds were stacked against us. I think that's the best way of putting it. Because we never really had a conclusion. We knew there was one way forward to reach that goal that we were both reaching for, and in both of our mindsets at the time, that was the only route to go down. For multiple reasons, whether it be obligatory necessities in our life to fulfill some sort of kind of expectation placed upon us, or kind of just being honestly maybe more than halfway through the process, Tony, and having no real escape. Me and Tony had, I would say we had similar workloads. You more so than me. I was more or less on cruise control often, but I put in my time.
I want to say I had more. I would just say it was different. You had other things on your plate that I didn't have to worry about. And vice versa. I think.
Yeah, I had to take care of and put a face on for certain people, such as some young freshmen that came on board from time to time.
And, I gotta jump in here and say that is very true. I know Don was setting me up for that one, but I can agree. I fully agree. I remember, Don was juggling 30 units that year. I forget exactly.
It was ridiculous, man. Tony knows this. I actually left school to start a master's before even graduating. It was definitely an interesting setup that I had put myself on, and to me it was the right setup to reach for. And I think right now, proper timing, this is the right setup that I was hoping for about 5-6 turns ago.
And speaking of setup, Tony, now you have to make a very critical okay? So that's why I wanted to cut this trip down memory lane to interject here and say, let's go ahead and move your king down 1. I think that's the right move here.
So F8, you're saying?
Yeah, F6 down 1. So sorry. From my perspective, I'm looking at Don's board, right? So it's kind of flipped, I think, 180 degrees.
Yeah.
So move your king to F6.
I think I'm screwed here. I'm done.
No, there's a chance of stalemate.
I think it will turn into a stalemate, right? Because if he goes down, I have one move, which is that. Meaning he takes this.
Oh, actually, Tony, you know what's happening, right? You know what's going to happen. I think you know what to do, Tony.
Can't do that.
I'll give you a little hint. Move your queen to G7.
Yeah.
There you go. And get ready. Get ready for what's about to happen next.
I have no moves. That's a stalemate, no?
Nah, fam, because you're going to be in check first, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh!
Check.
Oh!
Beautiful.
Hey,
See,
so
this is what I
shout
like
out,
to
by the
see.
way, shout out to chess.com. Wonderful website, beautiful layout. A little confusing in the beginning, if we're going to be honest. But once you get the hang of it, it's beautiful layout for what chess is. Connects people from across country and allows us to share some time. It allows people to cheat a little bit by, bringing in some outside resources to kind of lead them on their way. But nonetheless, still a wonderful website. So chess.com. Everybody, go ahead and sign up. Chess.com. Hey, we're looking for some sponsors, by the way. So, just throw it our way. Just throw it our way. We'll make it
I gotta
happen.
say, man, that was a brilliant promo. Like, I actually enjoyed listening to that. What did you think of that promo, Tony? That was professional, huh?
That was really nice, and I had now it wasn't kitschy at all. You had a nice little earnest
Yeah.
call in. There was, nothing over the top. Everything you
Yeah.
said was great, and great way to connect with people. That whole cross country thing. Everyone's got their Zoom socials right now and all those things. And don't get me wrong, they're nice, but something like this, a nice little game to bring people together, is always a good thing.
So tell me, maybe another college story from back in the UCI days.
All right, I gotta unload the tank. You go ahead and unload the story.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
So, besides those 40 nights, what was a favorite pastime of yours and Don's back in the day?
Oh, we used to, we thought we were ballers. We would go on the courts out in Middle Earth and go mess around, but it was more of a pipe dream, really, than any real.
Essentially, you were trying to mess around for that triple double like Ice Cube, but instead you got the triple single. I hear you. I hear you. It's
I fucked around, but found out that good thing I stuck to my day job.
Yes, but actually, now that you mentioned this, Tony, you may not recall because I'm sure you played ball in many different courts, but back in the day, might have been at Harvard Court. You had visited, and I think Don might have been there too. And I remember you were really good. Like you were getting the rebounds, you were hitting the mid range, a little bit of everything, and just very active all over the court. And at times I was thinking, man, this guy he could have been D League or something. Maybe 13th man in the NBA Lakers team. I don't know. Did you?
Even a practice team needs a practice team. You feel me?
Exactly, a body. Every NBA G League needs a body for sure.
Yeah.
I wondered though, like, have you always been a NBA fan? Were you always a basketball fan growing up?
Oh, we got a basketball story, by the way.
Oh, okay.
You remember that, Tony, when we played with Kim?
Which time?
When we went to the rec. And we were playing, what was it, some form of 21?
Out at the gym, right? Oh, yeah, that was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
You tell that story.
Oh, yeah. So,
tell that story, D.
I don't know where you left off, but I'm gonna totally interrupt because that's what the slippery D does. Like get in the crevices normally unattainable.
Squeeze it right in.
But freshman year, we lived with a very good friend of ours named Kim, who's now a doctor. Fantastic for her. Congratulations!
Oh wow! Congratulations to her. Yeah.
But we would go to the rec, which was the Anteater Gym. And we would walk there from Middle Earth, right? And at this time, all three of us were kind of gung-ho in our bio majors. So it made sense for all of us, to go to the gym in the morning. This was back in the day when I was relatively fit. Could run about a mile without dying.
Ooh,
but
beast.
just gotta flex every now and then. Gotta flex even for P.H.D.
Past.
Yeah, what? You're not gonna flex on P.H.Ds? Come on now, you're missing out. But we would go to the gym and we would do our thing, and then we for this time would play some basketball. Oh. Right, and these courts were sacred courts because, as many of you know, the late great Kobe Bryant would often frequent the rec at this time to practice.
Now, when you say the rec, do you mean the Ark?
Oh shit! Okay, yeah, the Arc. My bad.
Wow, Don,
At
that
Eden
is sad.
Recreation
I mean,
Center, same thing.
Hey, you were close. That was a rec center. It's cool.
Okay, fine.
What?
Fine.
Oh,
Rec center,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, the Arc.
Continue.
All right.
Yeah.
So we would go, and it was just the three of us, and we proceeded to go ahead and play some basketball. Where the ball came from, I don't know. I guess one of us checked it out, or did one of us bring it? No idea.
No idea.
We proceeded to play, have a good time, and it was my turn. I had the ball, leading command. If I remember correctly, I'm just gonna go on the record. Say I had leading command, and decided to try to do something fancy, do a little fancy play. And I had none other than Tony guarding me. So I'm like, you know what? I got this. Just like how I had my king set up, I was like, I got this. There's no way he's going to pick that 10% chance to end the game. Little did I know, he had the right tools to make it happen. So I proceeded to, I don't even know, was it like a little triple threat going on? I just remember going up and coming down. I don't even know what the setup was. But I proceeded to jump. I assume I was shooting or rebounding, something of that sort. And when I came down, I immediately remember being on the floor in pain, screaming agony.
No.
But I did not scream because we were in front of Kim, who at the time, and still to this day, I'm sure Tony would agree, would not give two fucks about your health or how you felt. She was there to play, and she had a motive. Turned out I had incidentally landed on Tony's foot, right? Would that be the right portrayal? And, pretty much really sprained the fuck out of my ankle to the point where I didn't even want to walk on it, right? Oof. And kid you not, you know what? With Tony's face, he was very sorry, all that. So hats off to Tony. Kim made me walk all the way from the Ark back to Middle Earth with that fucked up ankle. Oof. And then I don't know if you remember, Tony, but I think like a week or two after, when I showed you guys my ankle and how fucked up it was, even Kim was like, "Oh, ooh."
Oh man, yeah, I don't remember that.
Oh, it was purple from toe to high ankle. It was bad, so bad. So, moral of the story: don't trust brown people.
Hey,
ooh,
man!
Wow.
Hey, what? No,
cool.
No.
You're kind of outnumbered. You're 2-1, buddy.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I've been facing that all night. You know, I'm gonna keep it going.
He has been facing that. That's true.
But it's just one of those. I think at that point, that's when I started gaining weight. So Tony, I blame you a little bit.
I'll take a little bit of hit.
Oh,
so Tony, I gotta ask though, and this is what we were talking about before Don interjected with a great story, I might add.
Sure.
So Tony, were you always a basketball fan growing up, or did you kind of develop that interest later on in life?
Kind of always. I would say probably around middle school when we had those middle school sports teams. Get on that little 6th grade basketball team, feeling like a baller, and when you kind of get the NBA, and of course, growing up in LA, especially around that time.
Yeah, man.
Laker fan, Kobe, even the early days, Kobe and Shaq. But I think as of late, after college, I kind of dropped off and really stopped following basketball, mainly because I think a big part of it is just having, the homies around and having that fan base and talking about it and, watching the games. But after college, didn't really have a crew like that to do, so it kind of lost touch. But
well, you've been focused, man. I mean, you've been focused. I don't know if we've talked about your background a little bit, but I would say between the A and I, you're the most educated out of both of us, probably combined.
Oh, easily.
So go ahead, Tony. Let everybody know. Let everybody know what the D and the A are working with here.
Well, I think it's very kind. I think, yeah, I have some formal education, but that only goes so far. I think we all have our knowledge to bring to the table.
Oh,
But I
you're
think
too humble, man. You're too humble. You know you.
John's referring to is I decided after undergrad that I really enjoyed what I studied. So I was a genetics major in undergrad and did a lot of research at the lab on campus and really fell in love with that. So I decided to continue in grad school. So I went forward to get my Ph.D. Focusing in virology of all things, which was really exciting to me and is very pertinent as of 2020,
Sure.
where being a virologist is a household common term nowadays. But yeah, I did that for a few years, and so now finished that earlier this year, and kind of moving on to the next phase. So that's I'm here on the East Coast now, working at a local biotech. So yeah, on to the next. But yeah,
very humble, Tony, and I think that the Arjun and I can respect what you've done, and know that. Dude, I would wish to get a PhD nowadays, man. I don't know about you, A. Would you want a PhD?
Well, so personally for me, obviously I did my undergrad at UCI as electrical engineering major. Worked for a couple of years, and then I had the desire to get back into school just to learn more about the theory and kind of help me understand the more technical details of what I'm learning and doing at work. And so that to me was an interesting experience because I found out in grad school what I really enjoyed and also what I didn't like.
Partying.
Also what I wasn't good at, you know?
Partying.
And well, sure. I didn't do too much of that. I think Don, I got to defer to him on the partying aspect. In fact, he's still partying this weekend. He's the only one between the three of us that's drunk. That thinks today is like Sunday in the East Coast.
Understand. See, Tony's a good drunk. He's fine. He's actually... Tony, are you quite tipsy right now? How deep are you in your drinks right now?
I'm not that deep in, but
okay. So obviously, I pedal to the middle it irresponsibly. So all of you guys learn. Go ahead, A. Sorry, my bad.
Oh no. I think long story short, I think in grad school I just learned that I've had enough schooling. I don't think I need to go further in the higher education. So a PhD is not necessarily in my cards, but I fully, wholeheartedly respect people that do go down that route and do their thesis dissertation and everything. And so Tony, mad props to you and congratulations for finishing that experience earlier this year. Very cool to hear that. Don, how about you though, man? I think it sounds to me like you like the idea of it, but not necessarily the work behind it, right?
No, I mean,
yeah,
of course, because there's a certain amount of work and a certain level of dedication required to reach a PhD. Unlike our masters, there isn't necessarily a clear-cut ending for a PhD when you enter. You go in knowing that you pretty much have to roll the dice on who you pick and end up working with. And it takes a certain testicular fortitude in order to know that you're giving up a certain number, or rather an uncertain number, years of income in order to reach the pinnacle of academic knowledge and academic kind of progression to further the understanding of a particular topic for the world. And our friend and humble Tony, I think, will not admit to it, but understands that sacrifice that a PhD is in and of itself, especially in the scientific realm. So I wish I personally had a PhD, because from all the PhDs I have met, both as professionals, postdocs, or currently studying in a PhD, they've been nothing but brilliant, humble, and amazing people. And as a Donanices, as myself, That's something I wish to reach, but I know it's not in my heart of hearts, nor in my personality to even ascertain.
Don, let me pause you right there.
Sure.
Because first of all, I don't necessarily think that having a PhD is necessary to be all the things you said. I think you already are.
It's not, but if you want to reach the pinnacle, and not even reach the pinnacle, sorry, I apologize, Tony, to expand on the pinnacle, you need a PhD. At least for the knowledge we spent a minimum of 4 years learning in college. And I just can't, it's not in my, deck of cards to do that. Or rather, I just threw them out and decided to trade it in for a spiffier Yu-Gi-Oh deck instead. So, I don't know.
I think we all take different paths in life, and you kind of alluded to this in the same sense that you may take a gamble when pursuing a PhD program. You don't know who you're going to be working with for the entirety of it, how many years it might take even. In the same way, I think you can have the best laid plans for you. You can come into college thinking you'll know exactly where you'll end up 4 years from now, but ultimately a lot of things can happen in life that change the way you think, change who you meet, give you opportunities, take opportunities away. Anything
Take them all.
is really possible.
Take them all.
So one thing I know that Don did, which is I think super cool, and I think Tony, you would probably agree, is starting Bunso, right? This whole experience with the food. I mean, Don has a great passion for cooking and for sharing his gift to the world. So let me ask you, Tony, just to start off, have you had the opportunity to try any of Don's cooking?
Unfortunately, no. So,
Probably
even though Don and I have been, close friends for over a decade now,
oh shit! Whoa! Hold on.
All over the place. We've, after college, really have rarely been in the same city. So, I didn't really get to taste any of his creations. That kind of came about after our college years. So, looking forward to it. And I've heard great things, and definitely the kind of the background as to why he started it and just kind of the whole philosophy of it, I think, is pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to trying it at some point, but haven't had the privilege.
Yeah, man, and that time will definitely come. We've been physically separated for years now. I would say maybe 6, 7?
Yeah, 6 at least.
It's been a good amount of time, and we both kept in touch with each other, thank God, throughout this time, which is amazing that you'd put up with me, but I'm grateful for it.
Hey, right back at you, man.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Hey, I gotta say, man, he dropped out of my life for a while, and I didn't think twice. Not even 3 times. Maybe 1.5. Maybe.
I do have to say though, speaking of keeping in touch with friends from back in the day, a mutual friend that all of us share is none other than the legendary,
the infamous
Birad Patel. Birad Patel. And let me just ask you, Tony, when was the last time, not even saw, but when was the last time you just exchanged messages with Birad?
Oh, probably maybe 2013.
7 years. 7 years.
Yeah, a couple years after undergrad. I haven't really heard anything. Yeah, I'm sure he's doing fantastic.
I think it'd be a goal of both of ours, or of all of ours, honestly, to break bread with him. We can't share a drink with him for other reasons, and he's a very, very busy man. But I think it'd be a nice goal of all 3 of ours to set up some time, even get 30 minutes of his day, as difficult as it is, because I think he's a blessing to this world. I don't know about you.
I think so. I think it's so funny because probably I met Birad in a very different way than you two. You two probably went to the same dorm together, right? Or the same,
Oh yeah, man. He was like my
yeah,
right
back in the
hand
day.
for making trouble.
Really? Birad
Oh
Patel,
yeah.
huh?
Oh yeah, you don't even know that? Here, hey, yeah, okay.
Oh
Look,
yeah.
you
But
won't even have
Don
to
was
hear
the
it from
ball
me.
man every time. That was the problem. That was the problem. Don was always the ball man.
Yeah, I was
What's
rather that or the fall guy. All right, so you know, in everybody's eyes, B-Rad is pure.
Yes, yes. He always
Oh
has that outward reputation. That's
no,
true.
no, and I'm sure Tony can even agree to this. He's not. He's not. Maybe the majority of the time, but you know that 40 to 30% that is not. It's really bad. It's you know, being the clown I was our first year. It would be easy to point blame onto me, and you know, rightfully so. I was probably involved in all the shenanigans that we did. But as much of a mastermind as I like to think that I am, many of the cons that we played were not all my doing. But I took the fall for it. You know, I will fall on my own sword and others if I have to. But it's okay. You know, I like the guy. I'd like to call him out, put him under oath, and, you know, let's see what happens.
You know, I think, Don, since you seem to be the glue guy for everybody, I think it would be fantastic.
The sticky D.
The sticky D, the stickiest of all the Ds. I think it would be I think it would be absolutely sensational if by the end of the year you could arrange maybe a Birad Patel feature, a guest feature on the SoCal DNA. And by all means, Sony, we'll try to make sure that your schedule works with this too. So it could be like a reunion of sorts. You know, good friends coming together after nearly a decade of time. So Don, can we have that promise? Can we have that D guarantee from you?
You know, you normally can get the D guarantee, but with our friend B-Rad, it's I cannot place a guarantee on that.
His time is precious. He's a very busy man.
He's a very busy man, and definitely, you know, well earned for all that he's done and for how he's grown into such of a great man that he is today. And I mean that with nothing but love and nothing but respect. So I will do my best. That is what I can promise. Whether or not it will come to fruition, that I cannot promise. But we can have Tony on board from time to time. That's what I can promise, because I know Tony's loyal. Tony's always down to support.
I love to be back. It's always a good time.
Exactly.
I love it. And Tony, I gotta say, I appreciate you so much, because I know it's past 2 a.m. where you are, and I'm so delighted that a fan of ours would stay up that late to interact with the D and the A.
Hey, well, he's more than a fan. He's more than a fan. He is a.
We got good people. You know, you're in it with the good people. That's all it is. You know.
Hell yeah.
There you go. There you go. It warms my heart. It warms my heart to hear these compliments
that cold
from
heart
T-Dawg, my guy, T-Dawg. Jesus Christ. Now, before we let you go, Tony, I do have one interesting question, because you talked about studying virology and everything. What do you think about all these COVID-19 vaccines that are coming out? We got the Pfizer, of course. Trump gave the okay today. Looks like the FDA approved it. You know, UK. Their regulatory body approved it even earlier. Moderna's coming out sometime soon, and then we got AstraZeneca as well. What do you make of all these viruses? Are you generally confident in their efficacy?
Yeah, I'm very confident in them, and this isn't um, something that's a blind confidence. I think oftentimes there's a very real fear among people about these vaccines, and that comes from a place of maybe just not understanding exactly what's happening, and the fact that these kind of came up at unprecedented speed, right? These from identifying the outbreak to getting a vaccine, you know, it's been about a year, which that's never happened. So there's a lot of concern, but I think what people should really take solace in is that the reason things move so quickly is because we were building on science that had already existed, a lot of basic science that already existed, and platforms that were uh, kind of ready to go for the AstraZeneca vaccine. And Pfizer was something new, but was built on sound science, and all the safety trials and everything has been done accordingly. Things were just moving faster because a lot of the roadblocks in terms of getting the number of volunteers necessary for the necessary safety training or testing, excuse me, and kind of the paperwork and the red tape in terms of moving things forward in a timely way. Those were all uninhibited because we had the money and we had the urgency. But the safety things were followed appropriately, and people being concerned that they don't want to be the quote unquote first person to receive the vaccine should remember that these have been vastly tested with a large population for safety and for efficacy. So, given that the large body of experts, so this is not just one person, it's not just Tony Fauci, who I am a big fan of.
You got his poster on your wall?
Not yet.
Okay.
But there's a large body of scientists and clinicians who have looked at the data, who have participated in this, and deem it safe. So, given that consensus, then I trust the scientists. Just as many other things in our lives, even though I don't fully understand how my cell phone works or how my car works, I will trust the engineers and mechanics who do this, who tell me that my car is safe, because they are the experts in that, and they hold each other accountable in the same way that we in the biology and medical field will do. I guess just started with a disclaimer that this is my opinion, and yes, I have a background in virology, but there should always be a discussion. If people have questions, seek out reputable sources. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to be concerned, but really go to the right places for your information.
Sure. Sure. Like the Oxford University Press, which, by the way, is the A's favorite resource of things. Tony, do you cite university papers, perchance?
I do, yeah. So, whenever I'm writing a paper at all,
But would you cite? I don't know what ours would be, but Peter the Anteater's take on the front page of a pandemic.
So Tony, let me kind of break down why Don is doing this and pushing this angle. You might have missed that episode. That's totally okay. You're a busy guy. Totally okay. So essentially, in one episode, I had cited the Oxford Student Journal for something. It wasn't about COVID. I think
Student Journal. That's the right term.
Yeah. You were fucking up a lot. Slippery D. So ever since then, he doesn't live that down. He doesn't let me live that down. He always brings up, like, you're not very good with sources. You always talk about Oxford Student Journal. So essentially, he's trying to say that I'm not very reputable when it comes to my sources out there. And he's asking to see which sources you like to use. What's that, Don?
I'm just saying, just in general, man. I mean,
not reputable in general. I see. Now, going back to Dr. Tony Dawson, if you get the vaccine, can you still be a carrier? Can you transmit it to other people?
So that's a good question. I have to really kind of look into a lot of the data, but I think the answer with these questions, a lot of it is, I guess I'll backtrack and say that oftentimes with things like this, people like absolute answers, yeses and nos. Like, no, if you get the vaccine, you're 100% protected. But we know from the data, from the safety trials, and generally, really no one intervention is 100% effective. So that should be taken with a grain of salt. Getting a vaccine is not a free pass to then say, I don't have to do any of the other restrictions. what we can say is that if a vaccine is effective in an individual, part of purpose of the vaccine is to stop the ability of the virus or anything to infect you, cause disease, and hopefully spread. Now, the degree to which that happens will vary from person to person and will vary based on the vaccine. But generally speaking, having a vaccine will greatly increase the probability that you will not be subject to serious disease or be able to spread. Now, the clinical trials that are still going on, these subjects are still being followed and monitored as well. And as things kind of progress, we'll have more data to really see how effective it is in controlling spread. But it's important to note that this is just one tool that we have. Things like social distancing and wearing a mask and washing our hands are also very effective. And if we think about pandemics in years past, when we didn't have such a burst in technology, these sorts of practices that were adopted were highly effective, and they continue to be when they're being used now. So, yes, I think the vaccine, given the data and precedent, will be effective and protect people from getting high disease and by stopping spread. But it is not the only measure that we need to do to kind of control this.
So I know in some countries, in most countries now, wearing a mask is the proper thing. It's socially acceptable, and it's even required almost everywhere you go. But you may not know, in the UK, they actually don't require their people to wear a mask, and it's something that they don't push at all. And I'm kind of wondering, in general, do you think it's proven, like scientifically proven, that wearing a mask is effective in reducing the spread of the disease?
That's a strong word to bring on. Proven in science is almost a taboo word.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say that the data do show that masks are effective in stopping the spread of the virus. So we know how the virus spreads, mainly through breathing, coughing, sneezing, aerosols, and such. And a mask limits how far aerosols can go. So just from that kind of basic understanding, you'll have less exposure, and that will help. I think we do have evidence. I don't have specific papers and things to look at now, where these measures have had an effect in stopping the spread of disease in other places. So we know they are effective. And this isn't just for COVID, but for really respiratory pathogens in general that you transmit through sneezing, coughing, and things of that nature. So we know it works. Of course, different masks will have different effectiveness. The thicker the mask, the better. And wearing your mask properly is most important. So cover your nose and your mouth. Make sure it's tightly fitting around your face. Wash your hands before and after handling your mask. Don't share masks, obviously, and things of that nature. But we do know it's effective.
That's good. That's really great to hear. And I think for the most part, when I look at my colleagues at work and friends that I socially distance with from time to time, they all follow the rules. They all follow the rules, and it's refreshing to see that most people are doing what they need to, washing their hands, singing happy birthday twice or 20 seconds for most people, wearing the mask and everything. I do appreciate that. Now, Tony, with the vaccines now beginning to roll out, do you think we'll be able to return to life as we once knew it by the end of 2021? Does that seem feasible?
Well, I think it's difficult to really put a date on it. So many things need to play out well. I think with the vaccine out, that becomes more probable. But again, it's only one piece of the puzzle. I do think, and this isn't just my opinion, but a lot of op-ed pieces, this is kind of one of the moments in history that really changed how we interact with people in general, even after, I think, COVID has been subsided. So with the vaccines and continued measures, we'll definitely get closer to 2021. I hopefully get to a point, but I don't like to put a date on it because I think that often might lull people to a sense of complacency and say, hey, if we can only make it 3 more months, and we can go do this.
Yeah.
And of course, I understand that we're all tired and we want to get to a sense of normalcy, and that's human, that's normal. But this will get us close. I guess the best way to put it is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're getting closer, and the vaccine is helping us get there. So is wearing a mask, but it's hard to know exactly when that will be. Kind of requires that we all kind of band together and do the right thing, limiting travel and such.
Yeah.
The outbreaks will continue to happen.
Definitely. No,
And work together.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I think, Tony, you summed it up quite nicely. I think we do have to be persistent. We can't ease up just because we hear this good news about Pfizer. We do have to continue doing all the things that we've been doing for the latter part of this year. Because only if we get everyone participating, everyone playing their role in reducing the spread, in trying to beat down this invisible enemy, that's when we'll know we're truly near the end of this tunnel, not just looking at the light, but actually coming out of it.
Ooh.
So it'll be some time. I agree. We can't put a date on it, but it's a collective effort that we need to continue. Now, switching gears a little bit, I know Don has been very, very interested in something that may intrigue you as well, Tony. Aliens. Aliens have been on Don's mind for quite some time, for reasons that I do not know.
Oh, well, of course you don't know.
I'd like Don to set up a little bit why he's so infatuated by extraterrestrials all of a sudden.
Well, it's one of those things where, at least for the past couple weeks, there's been multiple avenues, media avenues, whether it be podcasting or just general mass media, showcasing some of the footage released by the government, or just other, Reddit featured or 4chan featured sort of forums where the talk of some form of extraterrestrial life has come into play. And as three scientists of different specialties kind of can talk about, I wanted to get all of our takes on what we think the truth may be when it comes to alien life forms, or that of the conspiracy theories that COVID in and of itself may have been set up for us as a test of some sort. So what's your take on the possibility, or rather the I guess accepted fact that aliens do exist and even exist here on Earth?
So, Tony, I'm gonna let you start on that one because that was a whole lot of nonsense to me. Go ahead, Tony. What do you think about the accepted fact, quote unquote, that aliens exist on Earth?
So, yeah, that's a very loaded statement. I think back a little bit. I think so. I'll start off by saying I like to go off of the evidence really as much as possible, and so.
Well, Roswell, Area 51, is that not evidence enough?
I don't think so. Not in my mind. I think so. The possibility of aliens, I think, is totally plausible. I think people have done the calculations, and there probably is, based on probability, other life forms that exist in the universe. Now, whether they exist at the same time as we do, whether they are intelligent, whether they can actually communicate with us, and if they have in the past, that's still open. I think it's a possibility. Now, so there's no evidence saying that aliens don't exist or that they didn't visit us or anything like that. But there's also no real substantial evidence, in my mind, that they have.
Well,
business.
okay, and that's fair for sure. And to pivot off of this really quick, is there?
Wait, hold on. How are you pivoting off of this?
I want to pivot off.
You just
of this.
started talking about aliens.
No, because I think Tony brings up a very good notion that I think would be a little more, less conspiracy theory and more philosophical. Is there anything that we believe in that doesn't require evidence?
Well, obviously, this is also a loaded question because you're kind of pointing toward religion.
This is something
religion is
this kind of circles back to what Tony and I would do in our younger days, where we would pose these definitely loaded but almost unanswerable questions, yet come up with some sort of conversation that spurned additional questions that led us to a particular understanding of how to at least approach such a question. And I think that's worthwhile for our listeners to see how, as dumb as I may sound and as logical the 10% of the time may be, how we could go about thinking. And I think that's the essence of a PhD, more or less. How to think and how to ponder particular questions. And I think offering this philosophical sort of what if, this open-ended question is a great way of rounding out our chess match. So, is there anything that you take on, aside from religion and faith, is there anything that you take faith upon, aside from God, if you do?
Well, I think kind of have to be careful, right? So there are different types of knowledge, right, that exists. But when we talk about things that are in kind of the physical realm, right, then they are subject to logic, reason, and evidence, right? When you talk about something like a personal feeling or belief, that doesn't require anything that's subject to the physical world, then you can't hold it to that same standard, right? So this kind of goes into.
But the physical world is, I guess, subjected to our understanding of the physical world, right? So, as you and I, or as maybe all three of us understand, if infinity exists, our understanding of the world is limited, right? So what do you do about that other X% that isn't understood?
Well, I think that you have to break that apart a little bit. So we've always been in a state where we don't have full understanding of the world around us. We always kind of push forward and increase our understanding based off of logic and reason. Now, is there something to understand beyond this framework? Maybe, but therein lies the problem: is that how can we understand something that is outside of our faculties to understand? Right. So if something's outside of the physical realm, we can't use our tools that we have in the physical realm to study them. Right. If there's something outside the universe, but we're bound by the universe, how do we really know that exists? That's totally open, and I think that's kind of cool to think about. But you can't really prove it one way or the other. But that's kind of the fun part. I don't know if that got to your question a bit.
My question is so open-ended. Any answer would have sufficed, to be honest.
RJ, I'm curious what you think about all this.
Well, I think back to something you said before, like, you don't fully know how the car you drive works. You don't fully know how your cell phone, the ins and out work, but we put faith that some of these things will work because people who do know more about those things, they work on it, just like people who are night and day working on these vaccines, working on these cures, not just for COVID, but for cancer, for any other disease that plagues humanity. We put faith in them. We put faith in their expertise, their tens of thousands of hours that go into all this. And so I find the whole idea of, yes, Don is right that we're pretty much a
Hell
speck.
yeah, I'm right. Hell yeah. Hold on,
Okay.
hold on, hold on. Let's get that on the record, everybody. The A has said the slippery D is right. I'm gonna get a snippet of that and learn how to play that every now and then.
See, Don tends to have goldfish memory because every episode I say he's right about at least one thing. He's wrong about the 99 other things, of
Hey,
course.
you know
but
what? It just takes one. It just takes one yes. That's all it does. If business
that,
taught
that
me
is
anything,
true. 99 no's and one yes means
you know,
yes.
that's
That
all
is
you
true.
need. That's
That
all
is
you
true.
need.
But I guess in I'm glad you enjoyed that, Don.
I did.
I guess I like knowing that even though, in our own lives, right, using ourselves as the hero of our story, the protagonist of our story,
Dionysus.
we only know so much. We know a limited amount of information, and we maybe become experts in certain fields, but not in others. I like knowing that humanity overall has a collection of people all over the world speaking different languages, different cultures, backgrounds, walks of life, being experts in different things, experiencing life, experiencing the world in many different ways. So collectively, the human race, together, we have so much knowledge and so much experience that we can actually advance ourselves to the next frontier. So even though individually we may not know that much and we may not have all the answers, I like to think that humanity overall, the over 6 billion people in the world, together, we'll slowly learn more and more about how our brains work, how, we can travel through space in a more efficient and economical manner in the future. And, doing all the great accomplishments that we have, like looking back at the first moon landing. I mean, how mind blowing was that, right? To think that these little people from Earth can get on this little ship and make it go all the way to that little floating object that's been in the sky every single day. We could do that. We could accomplish that, Tony. And I think that's just the beginning, right? Obviously, with Elon Musk and SpaceX kind of advancing this and making space travel more commercially viable. I think whenever you have private industry putting in money into these endeavors, just like private industry did with the whole COVID vaccine research, good things tend to happen. You need the government to provide the regulatory control at times to make sure people are on their P's and Q's. But when everybody's working together toward these goals, it's amazing what we can accomplish. So my kind of, expansive answer to Don's rather open-ended question would be, I just think humans are fucking awesome, and we can accomplish anything in the world if we collectively put our minds to it. And just like we accomplished this podcast today, I am very, very pleased that Tony was able to join this podcast and give us his 2 cents about all different things, about COVID-19, about taking trips down memory lane with the D and Birad. It was all jokes, all good fun, all love for sure. And so, Tony, before we let you go, did you have fun? Did you have a good time on the pod?
Oh yeah, this was it was a great time. A little bit of everything. It was good to catch up with both of you.
Sure. I appreciate that. And Tony, I hope you will join us again sometime. We don't know when. It could be random, could be spontaneous, just like it was today. But we will always appreciate your dulcet tones on the SoCal DNA. And until next time, thank you. And until next time, this is the A signing off.
Catch you on the flippity flip.